Look at that, guys. Look at that. That's a lock, huh? So I guess I calibrated it right. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is Brandon, and if you've been following along with our $400 XR100 build, you'll know that we're at the point to get it onto the street and try it out. Well, I have tried it out, and it only goes like 38, 40 miles an hour. It needs to be re-geared terribly. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Stick around. So here it is, guys. This is my wife's 2002 XR100 that I've made fully street legal with LED lighting, its own independent charging circuit. This thing is awesome. If you haven't checked out this build, go ahead and check it out. I'll put a link up above. I initially paid $400 for this, brought it home, completely went all through it, discovered that it had a bent subframe. Check it out. It's really interesting if you're looking to make a dirt bike street legal, or even just fix one up and repair it and make it look really good again. That's an excellent video to watch. Go check it out. During on its first voyage of taking it out, I brought it up the road and realized that the thing only goes like 40 miles an hour. First gear is geared super low. Like first gear is almost useless. You could pretty much take off in second gear with this bike, so automatically I knew that this bike has to be able to go faster so that you're not just winding the motor out in a 35 mile an hour zone, and it's got plenty of motor to be able to do that. One other thing I noticed is that the bike was hopping all around. So I brought it back to the workshop and noticed that the rear wheel was, in exaggeration, shaped like an egg. So I had never done it before, but I ended up cutting all the spokes out of it, set the hub aside, ordered a brand new OEM Honda wheel and brand new OEM Honda spokes, put it all back together, and I got this within 7/1000ths of an inch of being perfect. Now, I've never done it. I just took my time, so I know that if you guys want to do something like this and you just take your time, you definitely can pull this off. If you want to see how I did it, I'll put a link up above to that video, and you can check how I relaced and respoked this wheel. To give you an idea of what 7/1000ths of an inch is, a piece of paper is about 4, the thickness. Then when I was all said and done, I went out and balanced it, so it should go down the road real good. Well, one of the issues of replacing chains and sprockets on this is that it has very limited of what you can do to change them. There's only 2 or 3 different sprocket sizes that you can change it to. Well, I was able to source some sprockets from a newer XR100 that will work with this. However, the chain pitch is a little different. That's okay. The chain that comes on factory with this bike for the 2002 model is 428 chain. So you're limited with that 428 chain of what you can have available for front and rear sprockets. I knew that I wanted a 14 or a 15 tooth front and like a 38 tooth rear. Well, they don't make it for this model, so I had to get one for a XR100, and here are the models right here. So this is a 38 tooth from JT Sprockets. There's the number. Here is a 14 tooth. There's the number for that. Give you an idea of the difference in diameter. The stock setup came 14 tooth front, 50 tooth rear. We're doing a 14 tooth front, 36 tooth rear. So quite a bit different. So the smaller the sprocket, the faster it'll go, but it'll have a lot less torque. The one thing I didn't buy, and I probably should have, is I probably should have got new sprocket bolts, but we'll just have to put some blue Loctite on them and reuse them. Just to give you a difference in diameter now that it is out of the package, considerably smaller. Now I'm just going to replace the sprocket bolts, and I'm going to put on some blue Loctite so it doesn't back off. And the original bolts actually have nylon locks in them as well, so that'll help. So now we get the sprocket all torqued to factory spec, and we will put the brake assembly back on. Pretty curious to see how this is going to go down the road, guys. I think it's going to make a huge difference as far as like usable power, you know. Now we just got to remove the side cover right here so we can get the front sprocket off. Again, the factory one came with a 14-tooth sprocket. We're replacing it with a 14-tooth sprocket. But the only difference is that the sprocket that's on it is a 428 chain, and we're replacing it with just a little less heavy-duty 420 chain. And this will come off easy because we've already had this off because we replaced it with a charging stator and pickup coil inside here. And again, I'm going to be Loctiting these as well, guys. So now that this is all torqued, let's get the chain on it where it's easy to get to now. And we may have to cut the chain, guys, because I believe from everything I've seen that it's going to take 118 links to do this. And I believe this one is 120. So we'll probably have to take some out of it, but it's gold, so that makes up for it. Yeah, I'll take a couple links out. Not a problem. Let's get the side cover back on. There's a bunch of ways to shorten this chain, guys, but I just prefer to use a grinder and grind it off. I have a chain breaker tool. It's called a PBR tool. I have one, and it's just as easy to grind it. And then you save wear and tear on the tool. I think it causes a lot of friction on the pin. So I just grind it, and that's it. Pretty simple. And we have everything all together, guys. Now, I know you guys saw me zipping things down with an impact and stuff, but just so you know, I do go back when I'm all said and done and make sure that everything's all torqued. And I actually put like witness marks on everything to make sure after I torque it that if it should back off, I'll actually know. I got the brakes all adjusted and everything is ready to go. So what do you say, guys? We take this out and give it a try and see how it goes. This is the maiden voyage of the XR, guys. I am pretty excited. I also want to verify whether or not the speedometer is correct. So I've downloaded a GPS app, so we'll see how that works too. So it's easy as this, guys. We turn on our headlight. Now our headlight's on, just like that. Then we turn on our power switch, and that turns on our speedometer and our tail lights and all our brake lights and blinkers and running lights. She's a one kicker. She starts first kick every time. So it goes really good, guys. No vibrations. All right, let's see. Look at that, guys. Look at that. That's a lock, huh? So I guess I calibrated it right. Wow. Well, there we go. That makes that easy. Sweet. All right, that's one less thing I got to do. All right. So this works just like a regular bike. Turn on my blinker. You can see how that indicator just turned on right there. And if you forget to turn them off, which often, I mean, even I do, not even a new rider, but sometimes I get just kind of lost in thought. You can see that that's on right there, just to remind you. We'll turn around up here. Yeah, no issues at all, guys, with this bike. Look, that's me leaning, but look, no vibrations in the handlebars, nothing. So yeah, we'll park it right here. Put my phone in the tail bag. I don't know if I showed you this tail bag either, but this kind of nice little place to keep your registration, your insurance card, you know, your gloves, whatever. So yeah. Oh yeah, all registered, all street legal. Oh, I just can't believe how good it runs, guys, after seeing how bad that carburetor was. But yeah, she's cherry. Even that front fender, guys, doesn't look too bad. You know what? After wet sanding it and all that. A speedometer pickup obviously works the way it should. Alright. I know, I should have gloves on too. I don't normally, I'm not usually a careless person, but... Alright. Yeah, guys, this has plenty of nut to go where it needs to go. I'm not concerned whatsoever. If anything, like I said, I want to go taller. First gear still is pretty useless. I mean, on the street, I say, not useless overall, but if you were in like a sand pit or something like that, or, you know, trail riding, definitely first gear would be useful, but it's still pretty short. Third, fourth. And the one thing I'm really gonna like, guys, is the feature over here. So remember I said, I can't remember if it was in this episode, but Honda recommends that you change the oil every 600 miles. Well, I don't know where they come up with 600 miles, because how would you know? This didn't come with a speedometer or an odometer. I've got it set so that in 300 miles there'll be a service engine light that comes on, just like you have in your car, and it'll be illuminated in the dash. It'll be here or here, I don't really know where. I mean, this thing only takes a quart of oil, really. I mean, every 300 miles you could change it once a week and it's not going to cost you that much. I mean, although oil is still pretty expensive, it takes a quart. So and I use the Honda 1040 oil, that's what it calls for. So that's the voltage, guys. So the battery voltage 13.8. so obviously the charging system's charging. Watch. Well, it's doing what it should. It's not allowing it to go up too high. Average speed is 34. Max speed was 45. See, that toggles. And now we're back to the time. And I wonder if we can change this from hours to miles, because we already got the hour meter on the side of the bike. Miles, there we go. So we've driven 8 miles. So it's 11:48 in the morning. There's the mile per hour. I really like having a clock on a bike, guys. And there's the mileage. So let's go for another rip. I don't know, can we call it a rip on this? Yeah, this bike is fun, guys. My wife is gonna love this. I'm so excited for her. This is way better than my first bike I ever had. Some of my first street bikes are junk. Actually, my first street bike ever was a Kawasaki GPZ 1000. And I was still in high school, and I bought it against kind of like, I was still living at home, against my parents' wishes. I ended up trading my car for it. And so yeah, I started working at a real young age, guys. Like, I saved all my money. I had, like, while other kids weren't doing much, I was out like mowing lawns, earning a buck. I was always trying to, you know, make money, because I always wanted to have fun things, you know, like dirt bikes and stuff and cars. So I kind of was blessed that I had folks that told me, that made me work and gave me a good work ethic, you know. I'll have to go back through at some point and retorque the spokes, and probably at its first oil change I'll go back through and check all the bolts again, just because I've had so much of this bike apart to begin with. But I've already gone over these bolts and witness marked everything, as you've seen, prior to letting it go, because I wouldn't want anything to happen to her, you know. Only thing left I'll have to do to the bike is basically set it up for her. It doesn't have adjustable suspension, but you know, I can adjust the levers so that it fits comfortable to her fingers, and they're at the right angle and stuff. So I just kind of like put them on there in a general position, and then she can, you know, dial them in the way she wants. I'll tip it down so you guys can see a little bit less road up ahead and a little bit more of the bike. That guy wasn't in the crosswalk. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit taller geared, guys. I keep wanting to grab one more. There is an RPM gauge I can view on this. I don't know which mode to toggle, and I don't want to go messing with it. It works right now. The more you mess with it, then you screw it up, and then it's not right again. The reason you have to change the oil frequently in these is because these bikes don't have oil filters like you know, the bigger bikes. So you're just basically recirculating oil inside the crankcase, and you know, engine parts wear, so you've got to change your oil frequently. Yeah, this will make my wife an awesome bike, guys. You know, I like that it's got a tall gear on it, so it's not gonna, you know, she gets into some sand and stuff, and as she learns the clutch, it's not gonna get tricky with her and she's spin her tire and stuff. So really reducing the torque on this will be great, especially for a beginner. But yeah, I definitely need the 15 tooth front sprocket on this. It's still pretty low geared. I've read on some forums that these bikes will get like 125 miles to the gallon. Biggest thing I worry about riding a bike, guys, isn't me. I've been riding for a real long time. It's worrying about everybody else. nowadays nobody pays attention to what they're doing. They're all looking down at their phone as I was checking my GPS earlier. But you know, a lot of people just don't know what the hell's going on around them. They're not paying attention. They're so glued to their phone that you know, here in Maine we have a hands-free law, and I think a lot of the states are kind of doing that too. So you can't be fiddle farting around with your phone while you're driving your car. It's got to be, you know, you can't be checking your texts, and you can't even be doing that at your at a stoplight either. You can't be messing with it, because how many times do you sit at a stoplight behind a guy, the light's green, and they're just sitting there, and you look at them and their head's down, they're looking at their phone, messing around with it, you know? So that's what scares me, is that somebody hitting me, you know, and it scares me for my wife. So I'm glad that she's got kind of this littler bike, and she's going to kind of like do it around town and just work her way up, just like we all had to, you know. We all got to start somewhere, but this is a nice safe bike that you don't have that big heaviness. Like my 600, that'd be a perfect bike for it. It's not like it's got a ton of horsepower. I think it's only got like 60 horsepower. It's kind of like, I mean, I say it's kind of gutless, but it's plenty. It's more than what you need, but it's heavy, you know. This bike's super light. Like, she can feel confident when she's on it, because it's a small bike. It's thin, so she can like feel comfortable with her legs. You know, she's not a very tall person, so it'll fit her good, and it'll make her feel confident. And if anybody's ever like screwed around on bikes, we all know that it's fun if you're a big person to mess around on a little bike than it is to be a little person and messing around on a big bike. You know, the great thing about these bikes, guys, they're simple, and these Honda motors, they're bulletproof. There's no coolant and antifreeze that we got to worry about. Get out of this blind side. I don't need to get clipped. Yeah, she's pretty crisp, guys. I can't even believe that we got this carburetor actually working, let alone running good. Oh, I love these train tracks. Oh. That's it, guys. I could not be happier. This thing turned out great. Its Maiden voyage turned out great. The speedometer's calibrated properly. I think it just all around was an awesome experience. The only thing I have left, like I said, is I got to switch over that 14 tooth front sprocket to a 15, and then I think we'll be in good shape. So be sure to tune in. There's going to be lots of adventures with this bike and all kinds of other things. I'll see you guys very soon. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is something that you like, please consider subscribing, like, commenting, sharing. Thanks, guys. See ya.